The tulips are too excitable. It is winter here. Look how white everything is, how quiet, how snowed in. I'm learning peacefulness, lying by myself quietly. As the light lies on these white walls, this bed, these hands, I'm nobody. I've given my name and my day clothes up to the nurses, and my history to the anesthetist, and my body to surgeons. They have propped my head between the pillow and the sheet cuff like an eye between two white lids that will not shut. Stupid pupil, it has to take everything in. My body is a pebble to them. They tend it as water. Tends to the pebbles it must run over, smoothing them gently. They bring me numbness in their bright needles. They bring me to sleep. Now I have lost myself. I'm sick of baggage. I'm a nun now, and I've never been so pure.
In 2015, National College Health Assessment by Anxiety and Depression Association of America found that nearly 30% of college students reported feeling so depressed that it was difficult to function. So, what is depression? To understand depression, we met Dr. Wilson Matthew. Dr. Matthew is a clinical psychologist with experience of more than 30 years in this field.
There are two types of depression. The first thing is biological depression. The cause of depression is a certain biological disorder. It may be genetic disorder, genetic uh, generation to generation. It may convey. And the second thing, psychogenic depression. That means because of day-to-day life pressure, stress, severe anxiety regarding our life matters, that also leads to what, depression. The main sign and symptoms of the disorder is, or depression is, uh, sad moods. Always they feel that they did certain severe sin or something very bad thing they did. Because of that they have severe guilt feeling, and because of this guilt feeling these people feel that it is better to commit suicide. So they may have a suicidal ideation, crying spells, and poor appetite. Because of the depression they may lose around within 1 month they will lose around 8 to 10 kg body weight. And the second thing, there are early insomnia, late or early insomnia. Sometimes they may get late night to get to fall in sleep, or sometimes they get up at early morning, that is around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock they will get up, and thereafter they won't get any kind of sleep. And third thing, they don't have any interest in a pleasurable activities like moving, just going out for a walk, or watching TV or movies, or even they don't have any interest in sexual activities also. These are the main symptoms of the depression.
Let's hear more about this from Nigesh Kalorat, who is clinical psychologist at Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode, in the state of Kerala in India.
In clinical depression, what is happening? A person who will lose his interest in doing the activities which was pleasurable in the past, and he or she might drop his appetite, energy, and even his or her sexual drive. Then, like, that will become more devastating situation where a person does not feel any sort of interest. Even a person doesn't feel like to wake up from his bed even in the morning. That is the first sign which usually start with, depression. Many times they feel very hopeless. they only think about the bad incident which had happened in their life. So they are always brooding about their past. Mostly they could only think about all the mistakes they have committed in their life. That is popping up one after another. Another aspect, that is your self esteem. Your self esteem will touch the rock bottom. That whatever things you are, like in whatever way you think that you have certain abilities, you have certain capacities, so you don't see anything at all, you start seeing yourself as useless. You probably see the devastating or kind of negative incidents which you had in your past life as an evidence for that kind of you are a useless person, or you are a worthless person. There are certain misconceptions people do have. The first one is depression is just sadness. Many people do think that when a person who is depressed, that is just the feeling of sadness. That is not real. When a person who is depressed, he must be feeling lot of other emotions. For an example, agitation, or feeling bad temper most of the times, or unexpectedly that person is throwing temper on other people, and aggressive outburst, so irritated mood. These all are the mixed emotions which you usually see in depression. And people always do say that when a person who is depressed, that is very obvious. So depression can be obvious, can't be. So many people who are depressed mask their depression. They do smile in front of other people. They don't show it to others. People can do that. Even then, when they are going for a walk, they don't exhibit their sadness, sorrow. They do mask it in the initial stages. Definitely, when they are going to the kind of deteriorating phase, when they are reaching the kind of moderate to severe level of subjective distress, slowly that can be evident through their activities or through their work. And people do think that there is only one type of depression. That is not at all right. Depression can be in different types. Have you heard of dysthymia? So dysthymia is a chronic depression which can last up to 2 years or more than 2 years. So which is a low grade depression, where a person does not have very severe symptoms of depression, but his depressive state is continuing for a longer period of time. That is dysthymia. That is different from the major depressive disorder. That is again of that usually lasts to 2 to 3 months, and in some people that lasts more than that period. But in that depression, the symptoms which we were mentioning in the first, so all those symptoms are present, and those symptoms are severe in nature. So there is huge difference between dysthymia and major depressive disorder. And there is seasonal affective disorder. In seasonal affective disorder, what is happening that a person might get depressed during particular season. Probably in winter, person is getting depressed. Another person might get depressed in the summer. So season is getting or having an impact on the mood state. And there is postpartum blues. Soon after the delivery, a person is getting emotional problems or depressive episode. That is, we usually call that postpartum depression or postpartum blue. So in this way, there are different types of depression. So depression is not a single thing.
Main issue why the people are not going for psychiatric treatment, it's only because of social stigma. Here, especially in Kerala, people think that if once the person visited a psychiatrist means he is a psychiatric patient. Because of this social stigma, many of the people are not interested to visit or consult a psychiatric.
If you find yourself that you are depressed, or you have changes in your mood, you have been changing from your kind of normal state of well-being to the present adverse or devastating state, you can do certain things to make sure that, or to help yourself to feel better. So the first one which I will suggest you to do some sort of physical activities, physical workout. At least for 30 minutes, you have to do some sort of physical activities. Another thing is that you have to ensure minimum 8 hours of sleep. That is very essential and includes your favorite food in your diet. That is another aspect. And you can spend more time with your pets, or if you like, or if you have certain hobbies, start doing those hobbies. That is also a way, that is also a kind of good way to kind of get rid of your bad feelings which you are facing right now. And another aspect, people do say that they feel better by doing this thing, that is to explore the world around you. Probably you must have visited a lot of places, so instead of that, try to explore the new places which you never been there before. So try to explore such places. That is also a kind of way to deal with your depression. So enjoy some sort of art, some kind of some activities which you find pleasurable in the past. Start again, redo such activities. Try to find some time to spend with yourself all alone, and you can explore new arena in your life. You can start going for a new classes, more exploration. You can start learning new art. Open up your mind for exploration or new experiences. Half change in your environment is also very helpful. Many a times you must be bored with certain aspects in your life, or certain thoughts which is coming very negative about your life. So if you are changing the environment, taking a break from particular place to kind of moving on to another place, or kind of have a change in your surrounding, that is also found to be effective to deal with your depression. So the meditation aspect, introspecting your feeling, knowing yourself, or meditation, that is also found to be very effective. So you think that depression is not a uncurable disease. If you find yourself, if you are depressed, do take the help and do this sort of activities. So definitely you will be get better, and there is a way to help.
We finally met some strong people from real life who have been through depression and fought their way out. They shared with us how it feels to be in this state and how they overcame it. Vaishnavi is a student at Indian Institute of Management Kozhikode and has suffered from depression for more than 5 years. She came out from it strong and willing to talk about it. She believes that the more we talk about it, the more comfortable the person suffering will be in sharing their own feelings with others. Let's hear her story.
So, I don't think there's any perfect definition for depression as such. Probably it depends on person to person. For me, it was not just getting away from my friends or family, it was more about getting detached from myself. So, almost I had lost confidence in myself. And if I have to describe in terms of my actions, so sleeping was really a struggle for me. And in case I get to sleep, waking up was a much more struggle. So if you have to describe about the state of depression, it's really difficult because you don't know what you're doing. So for me, it was completely a personality change, I can say that. I'm a very soft spoken person. I had become harsh. Uh, I didn't talk properly to people. I neglected my parents, and I didn't give that importance to what they are saying or what they are thinking about me. More of it was again about friends. Some of the close people, I started hurting them and didn't give much importance to what they have for me. Later on, in terms of lifestyle, there were a lot of changes. Sleep, I couldn't sleep. So it is something worse that could happen to you. It is like that. And more of it was more of it was in terms of my health problems, I can say. So I started getting frequent migraine attacks, and then half of my body used to pain a lot. Uh, my hand would become numb, my feet would become numb, my stomach would pain sometimes. Constant headache, sleepless nights. That was more of that phase for me, depression. And as I mentioned, sleeping and waking up was really a struggle. And when you are at home and you don't sleep for a very long period of time, entire night, and you sleep early morning and you have to get up at 7 and make tiffins for your brother or do some household work, it's really difficult. And my parents used to literally scold me for that, like how lazy you have become. Is it are these the fruits of sending you away from house and keeping you uh, away, or spending you so much for your education and all? It used to hurt, but then I couldn't even express it to them that there were certain things that's happening in my life that have changed these things. So it was all ups and downs that was happening in my life. But probably being from a conservative family, I couldn't be that open to my parents. And when I would go to my friends and talk about it, they would mock at me. They didn't give that kind of support which I was expecting. So this was the reason I started departing from my friends as well. No family, no friends. And at the same time, when all of this was happening with me, my professional career was bang on. 10th, excellent marks. 12th, excellent marks. I played national football. Moreover, I got a chance to go to Denmark for Dana Cup. So nobody would ever think that a life perfect as such would have something at the back. I had nobody to share. And something like 16, 17, 18, you don't know how to take decisions. And that was my life. I had nobody to guide as such in terms of decision making. So I was all haphazard in my life. And this is all was happening. And if anybody could see from outside, they didn't feel anything for me. In one of my indoor interviews, literally my condition was so bad that I had to carry a saline and make up stories over there to tell them that why am I in such a situation. So you never know what will happen in your life. Maybe because probably you don't know how to take decisions. So that was my condition. And the phase passed away. The interview, I got a chance to come to IIM Kozhikode, but then after coming to Kozhikode also, uh, I don't know how it went. My first term was really bad, low grades, no interaction with people, sitting at the last bench, sleeping, nothing to do, not able to relate to any of the classes and all. So I actually couldn't figure out that I was into a phase of depression. When you don't know you are under depression, there there doesn't come any question of taking medication. So was the condition for me. I didn't know that I was undergoing this phase, so I didn't take any medication as such. But then certain signs that were given to my body were in terms of other health problems like headache, or maybe my feet and hand would become numb, my stomach would pain, something like that. So I took different tests, like to find out if I really have any problem in terms of that. But then all of the tests turned negative, and I didn't have any problem as such. So one fine day I visited a doctor, and he said that he didn't explicitly mention that I have depression, but he said that you are a very moody and emotional person. Probably because of that, your lifestyle has changed. So he mentioned in that way, and I didn't take it seriously. So I started taking the medications that he gave, and one fine day, just sitting at the room, and I had no work, so I googled what are those medications about. Then I read that they are antidepressant pills. So that was the point at which I realized that yes, certain changes in my lifestyle are needed, And that was a first step for me to probably get over this phase of life.
Merlin, an MBA graduate from one of the premier business schools in India, battled depression in the first 2 years of her job. It started to take a toll on her work, but she was open about discussing it with others, including her boss. She shares her experience with us.
So, depression for me is when I feel helpless about the state I am in, when I feel that I don't have control over the things that affect me, and I am dependent on other people or on other circumstances. It feels like you're helpless, you're out of control, you do not know what to do. You want the circumstances to improve. Uh, you feel helpless and hopeless at times. I was very low and affected. I would be crying a lot. I would feel sad and not enthusiastic about the day or the days to come. So I overcame it with time, and when finally I had my closure to some extent with things being in my hands and my thoughts leading to the decisions or the actions that I have to take, and when I no longer was dependent on the circumstances to change, I think that's when I truly overcame it. So, for people who are going through a similar phase, I think I would only say it's all in the head. Everything that you think and control, it's basically all of your problems is just in your head. You can change it by changing your thought process, by being more affirmative and assertive with yourself, by probably even forcing yourself to get out of it and do something about it rather than just waiting for things to happen to you.